Hi, I'm Kat, and today I'm showing you how to make this miniature washer and dryer that can be placed stackable or side by side. Additionally, I'm showing you how to make the red hamper. Hope you enjoy. I am using an empty roll of bath tissue, and I'm going to cut straight up the middle and then cut in half so it's about 2 inches on either side. You can use tape and tape the veins if you'd like, so this way it won't peel, and then you can begin to punch holes in it. Tape it back together. Then I used a piece of cardstock that I cut to fit the bottom and punched holes in that as well. Glue that in place. And then on the second tube, I did the same thing with holes. And then I have small little snakes of clay that I'm shaping with my fingers into triangles. And then flattening with my blade and cutting smaller. You can put holes in this as well. Glue those in place and then bake it. The paper will be fine in the oven at a low temperature. Tape that back together and do the same thing with the bottom piece of cardstock, except this time you can add the water vents on that as well. For the washer and dryer body itself, I'm using foam posterboard, which is styrofoam flanked by a sheet of paper. This is found in any craft supply store and used a lot on science projects and school projects. I drew a circle and then a larger circle around it on one of the pieces, and then I cut out the smaller circle, and on the larger circle I'm scoring just the paper at the top and pulling that off. Use your knife to help. And once you've got the paper pulled off all around the circle, you can use an emery board and file off the foam. Then I scored the bottom and any other place I wanted to add detail. Using a stiff piece of posterboard, I made a top, glued it in place, and then on the sides, to fill in the gaps, you can either use some sort of a latex or silicone sealant, or of course you can use wood putty. You can even, as I did, use a piece of paper or cardstock to cover over it. A thin sheet of polymer clay cut into a rectangle becomes my control panel. Just cut in any details you'd like, including a small half circle over the top and a small rectangle at the side for where the LCD screen would go. Then I used my ball tool and dotted in tiny little holes, and I'll fill those in with paint to make them into lights later. Going ahead and bake that, and then I use black paper on one side to glue in place, and then flip it back to the other side, and use liquid clay to fill in the screen, Dab tiny little bits of paint where the lights go, in green, red, and orange, and then fill those in with liquid clay as well. You now have some gaps on the side that you'll need to fill in with the silicone latex or putty, as I showed earlier. And then once that's done and dried, you can go on ahead and paint the entire thing black or white or candy apple red or whatever color you want to go with. Glaze over it as well. And then you're ready to go on ahead and add the rest of the details. You're almost finished. For the doors, I used a piece of flattened polymer clay that I cut one small circle on for the inside and then a larger circle on the outside. Cut both circles out so you're just left with the ring. And then I pre-baked and then filed it down just lightly. Then a small curved piece becomes the handle for the door. And then for the hinges, you can actually use pre-purchased hinges, or you can make your own. Wrap one piece of wire around the other, and once you have one coiled around, just bend the pieces in the opposite direction so that the wire that wraps around the first one is facing one direction and the wire that's being wrapped around is facing the other direction. This way you have a fully functioning, workable hinge. Cut off the extra and then glue one section to the inside of the dryer. And then you can use another piece of flattened leftover clay, and using different sizes of straws you can cut out various buttons for your control panel. Paint the entire door silver or whatever other color you'd like, and then I made a small U-shaped piece of wire, and then I bent it into a 90-degree angle. And that's just going to be the closure for the door. Poke 2 little holes in the body of the washer and dryer, and then fit your hinge in there. Glue that in place on the other side. And then finally, take the roll of tissue that you had earlier at the very beginning of the project, paint that on the inside, and push that in place, gluing it down. For the hamper, I just used a small 3-ounce bathroom cup that I cut the edge off of. And then using a dry erase marker, I drew in the shape of handlebars and then cut those out. And then using a lighter and an old discarded piece of antenna, I lit the lighter, left it under the flame for about 10 seconds, and began to punch out holes. It maybe does about 2 to 3 holes before you have to reheat it, but that's good enough. You can get around the whole thing, and then once that's done, you can use an X-Acto knife to cut in the handles for the handles, and then paint the entire hamper. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!